Hi, everyone. Welcome to the third module inside Unbothered and Free. It has been such a powerful week with you all. I hope you've all have just been feeling the vibe and the shifts that are happening inside of you as a result of these conversations and being in the space and in this community. And I'm just so happy we have this week together. And I do think it's pretty amazing that we had boundaried and thriving and unbothered and free right before all the holidays. I didn't plan it on purpose like that, and I just love when it happens to fall into place like that. Because now we have this next week. If you're in the US, we have Thanksgiving, and then we have Christmas, and then New Year's, and just like if there's any time to be boundaried, it's the holidays. If there's any time that you need to be unbothered, it's the holidays. If there's any time for you to thrive and feel your most free, it's the holidays. So I really hope it's my intention that you take the conversations we've had and the tools that you've learned and the shifts that you feel into these next 6 remaining weeks of this year so that when 2026 begins, you're showing up as a truly unbothered and free version of you. This is what I want. I don't want this to be a blip on the screen. We're like, that was cute. We had a conversation about being unbothered and free. I want you to tap into and step into a whole other level of being where you are unbothered and free. And so this is an embodiment program. This is something that we dive deep into for 1 week. Those of you who are on the bonus call, we will have that in December. So we're going to really integrate it, see how you're doing between now and then. Also take all this coaching and concepts and tools and apply it to your particular situation. And then to carry that with you into the rest of the year and into the new year. So in module one, it was really about the art of surrender. That to truly become unbothered and free, there is an element where you have to surrender to what is. So much of your suffering is found in your resistance. When we resist what is, we suffer. We pay emotionally, energetically, physically, energetically. And it's when we are willing to finally surrender to what is that we can actually do something about it. But the more we fight it, the more we're mad at it, the more we resist it, the more entrenched we become in the situation we so desperately don't want to be in. So it's learning to surrender, that surrender isn't weakness. Surrender is powerful, saying, I refuse to waste my time on energy on changing something I can't, on resisting what I can't. I'm going to take all my power and energy and wield it in the most effective way. And that is not resisting what is, it's surrendering to it. And then on our second call was about the gift of imagination. Because once you surrender, and instead of wishing it was all these other things it could have been or you want it to be, now that you surrender to what it is, now we can imagine what we do from here. What can I change in this particular situation that I can't change? What can I change in this dynamic with this other person? What can I change? And this is where our imagination gets to run free. Because when we're so busy resisting, when we're so busy being angry, when we're so busy being bothered, our imagination falls flat. We lose our ability to imagine when we are just being angry and resistant. But when we finally surrender, it's like our imagination can breathe for the first time. It's like, oh my God, thank you. I've been waiting to be used. I've been waiting to be used to imagine a new reality for you. But I couldn't do it until you did the first part, which is surrendering. And now that you've surrendered, there's room for me to breathe. There's room for me to show up. There's room for me to use my gift for your favor. Instead of wasting your time and energy and your imagination on what could have been that currently isn't, we now can use your gift of imagination to imagine what can be from what currently is. And this is powerful. You are not powerless in a situation you surrender to. That is when you finally find your power. That is when you finally find your power. And the reason in our last call I read that letter, the notes I wrote, which were the very words I said to my mom on that phone call a couple years ago, is because that was me imagining a new relationship with her. It didn't matter that we'd had the same relationship for almost 40 years. Talk about an established pattern. Talk about predictability. Talk about not having much hope for anything being different. But that letter, those words were my imagination saying, now that you've surrendered to what is, you've surrendered to being estranged, you surrender to being abandoned by your family, you've surrendered to that current situation. Now, from here, if anything were possible, what would you want? And for me, it was like, I would love to finally have a relationship where I'm accepted for who I am. Maybe they can't celebrate me for who I am, but they can finally accept that this is who I am and they surrender to that. My wish is that they surrender that this is simply who I am. Because every time they resist it, every time they fight it, it pushes away. But same thing for me. Every time I resisted them and wished that they would change, it pushes away. It's when I finally surrendered that this is who they are. And when they surrendered that this is who I am, for the first time, our imaginations could run free and imagine a different relationship between us. I had 4 years to imagine because we didn't talk for 4 years. If I had a relationship with him, what would I want it to look like? If we reconnected someday in some way, how would I want it to go? And 4 years allowed me enough time to stop being so damn angry and to stop making them the villain, stop making me the victim, and really ground myself in my power and imagine a different reality now that I've finally surrendered that this is who they are. And they finally surrendered to who I am. And we finally got to have this moment together. And I got to speak into existence bravely and very terrifyingly what I wanted them to know. And here's something I want you to know because I know you guys don't know all the details and all the context of my life journey. When I wrote those words and said those words to her on the phone, where I said, I chose this divorce, I chose this, I chose this, I chose this, I didn't choose the divorce in the sense of like, husband, let's get divorced. It was way more messy than that. It was way more complex than that. I fought and fought and fought to not end our marriage. I was willing to do anything, and there was no way it wasn't going to work. So the fullness of the story isn't as simple as I simply chose this divorce. But what I was trying to communicate to her is I've chosen to make peace with this divorce. I've chosen to make peace with my identity. I've chosen to make peace with my calling on my life. I was showing that I'm choosing this and I'm not running from this. I'm not ashamed of this. I'm not afraid of this. And can you be okay with that? And this came with the risk of them saying, we're not okay with that. And we will resist it for as long as we can because we just don't believe in that. That could have been their answer. And I said, okay. And I would have said, that makes me sad, but I understand. And unfortunately, a relationship between us is not going to work because the bare minimum I need from the two of you would be to accept that this is who I am, even if you disagree. And if you can't, because that is your authentic truth, I want you to honor your truth. But I also have to honor me, and we just can't have a relationship. I'm so glad we had this conversation. I'm so glad we tried. I'm glad we got to speak our truth. I feel like I understand you more than ever before. I hope you understand me more than ever before. But I think the most loving thing we can do is not be in a relationship right now. Maybe we can try again down the road. I entered the conversation with that being a very real possibility. And based on our almost 40 years together, that was the higher probable outcome. Was then be like, yeah, it's been a few years and we still can't wrap our heads around it. We still can't be in a relationship with you unless you change this or change that or this or that. That was a higher probable outcome than them saying, we want a relationship with you and while we don't agree with everything, we want you in our lives. The first part is surrender. The second part is imagination. And the third part to becoming truly unbothered and free is being brave. It is brave to admit to yourself your truth. When I wanted, for example, to start an OnlyFans, that was brave of me to admit. It would be easier to swallow that desire. No one needs to know. My husband doesn't need to know. My parents don't need to know. My community doesn't need to know. My clients don't need to know. My kids don't need to know. Like, this is psycho. This is a childish desire. I probably should have done this in my 20s. There were so many reasons I could have just denied, and not admitted my own truth to myself. Same thing when my marriage was ending, and I was fighting and fighting and fighting to keep it deep inside of me. I was like, this isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work. And it was terrifying to admit my truth to myself that fuck, even with how hard I'm fighting for this marriage, I don't think this is going to work. I had to be brave with my truth. Just like when I had to, or when it came to my parents, I had to be brave saying, this kind of relationship is no longer okay with me. I've tolerated this style of relationship for almost 40 years. I can't do it anymore. I can't fake it. I'm tired of swallowing my truth and them being able to say whatever they want. I'm tired of acting like a child and them acting like they have an authority, they're an authority figure of me. I can't be in that dynamic anymore. That was scary to admit that I don't want a relationship with my parents. Who says that? I want my dreams to have a close relationship with my parents. And here I'm bravely admitting to myself, I don't think I can have a relationship with them. The very people who gave birth to me and raised me, who would have given their life for me, I think up until recently. Like, that I can't, like, who am I to think that, feel that, desire that? But the only way to be free is to name your truth to yourself. As long as you suppress your truth and pretend like I don't want to know, I don't want to know, I don't want to know, I don't know, you are not free. You are not free. And you're definitely not unbothered because something is bothering you inside that you're trying so hard to tune it out. So to truly become unbothered and free, you have to be brave enough to admit what your truth is. And you have to be brave enough to admit it to the other person involved if that is what you're being called to do. It's so much easier to not bring it up. It is so much easier in one sense to cut people off than to have a hard conversation with them. It is so much easier to write them off and make them the bad guy and to move on and just chalk it up to whatever and not have to think about it again. But if in your heart of hearts you know that a conversation needs to be had, that is brave. It's one thing to surrender to what is, which is hugely important to setting yourself free. It's another to imagine a different ending to the chapter that you're in. That's also very important. It's a whole other thing to be brave with that knowing and to do what it is you must do. At all three stages, people get stuck, and this is why most people stay bothered and trapped, bothered and limited, bothered and caged. For so many people, it's because they simply will not surrender to what it is. They resist and fight and fight and fight and refuse to admit. They want to keep their head in the sand. I don't want to admit what is happening. I don't want to give in because if I give in, it means I'm weak. It means I gave up. It means I'm embarrassed. It means I've lost I've lost face. Then people get stuck at the imagination because like there's no way. There's no way they'll change. I know my friend. I know my parents. I know my partner. I know my boss. I know my coworker. I know my neighbor. There's no way they're going to change. So you surrendered, but now you got not beyond surrendering, you gave up. You're like, I surrendered to what is, but also they're not going to change. So what's the point? You're not free. You think you're free because you gave up on them, but given up on you in the situation that as though it cannot be any different than what it currently is. You're acting like you're that powerless. And the third is where people get stuck is I know what I need to do. I know the truth. I know I need to leave this relationship, or I know I need to have this hard conversation, or I know I need to reconcile with this person. I know I need to admit I was wrong. But it's so much easier just to not do it. And it's just so much easier to pretend like it doesn't really bother me that much. Like, look at my life. It's pretty good. People don't need to know. No one would know. Only the irritation in my soul knows. If you really want to become unbothered and free, you have to do the brave thing. It is so terrifying, but it is your true liberator. I knew for me, my family generation has a pattern of mothers and daughters cutting each other off. And my mom swore that would never be us. And then lo and behold, we're both cut off from each other. And I'm like, holy shit. If I don't heal this in me, I will be passing this down to my children as part of my family lineage. And I don't want to be like my mom who says, this will never happen. And then it happens because apparently just saying it is not enough. My mom said this would never happen to me and her, and here we are. So in those 4 years of estrangement, the brave knowing I felt was, it is on you, Nicole, to heal this shit in your family. And of course I threw a tantrum. I'm not responsible for it. This was fucking passed down to me down my line. Go take the beef up with that person, whoever fucking started it up there. Why is it my responsibility to heal my family generation shit? So I had a moment of a tantrum, like, I don't want to be the one. I'm a victim to my fucking family line. Why am I the one who now is responsible for it? It's because I had the knowing. I had the calling. I felt the desire that I don't want this to continue in my family line. And I could have pretended like no one knows. This is a personal, intimate, inside conversation that no one knows about. And I'm like, look, my life is good. I've got my partner, I've got my kids, I've got my businesses. I'm living in California. Like, my life is good. My family's fucked up. Whatever. Whose family isn't? I could have just ignored my truth. And it would eat at me and eat at me and eat at me. And I knew if I didn't honor my truth and do the brave thing, I would never be fully free from this thing in my family lineage. And so I spent a lot of money and invested in a lot of mentorship saying, help me heal my shit. I'm so sick of making my mom the problem. I'm so sick of hearing myself talk about this. Oh, my family. I'm so sick of myself trying to be the victim in every area. I want to heal it. I want to heal it. So I did all the work and spent all the money that no one knew about except for my mentor and me. My parents didn't know. My children didn't know. My ex-husband didn't know. This was me. The internet didn't know. This was me and my internal journey to becoming unbothered and free. Something I didn't have to do because I had a pretty good life. And opening myself up back up to my parents, there's all kinds of risks that come with that. All the old patterns and old wounds and being hurt by them again and being disappointed by them again and being, all that stuff. But it's only way for me to imagine a new ending for us. And so I bravely did the inner work I had to do to heal my side of the street. And then I bravely took my mom up on her offer when she said to come back and bring my family back and visit them. And I was brave when I called her and said, I'd like to have one very hard, awkward, uncomfortable, but very important conversation before I actually fly everyone back to see you. And that whole process birthed a version of me that is so unbothered and free, it still floors me to this day. I am a hardcore recovering people pleaser. People pleaser was my middle name. Being who everyone needed me to be was my whole identity. So to be at this point in my life, to feel this unbothered and free, to be actively misunderstood by so many people on a regular basis, to be the villain in so many people's stories, and still feel so light and free and untethered and unchained, I still can't believe it. It feels like the greatest miracle of times. It's not even my parents changing, it's me. The one who always needed to be right and everyone to be wrong for me to feel good. Me always need to be the villain and then being the victim for me to have homeostasis. Me needing to be understood. And when you're not understanding me, you're the problem, not me. That was all I ever knew, all the air I breathed. And to be here now, like, you can misunderstand me and I'm okay. You can make me the villain in your story and I'm okay. You can think I'm a terrible mother and I'm okay. I'm okay. Because I've walked this road of surrendering to what is, imagining a different reality and ending for me and my loved ones, and doing the brave thing over and over and over again. The very brave thing that I would run from because I hated, still don't love confrontation. I hated confrontation. I'd rather not know. I'd rather pretend we're okay than be awkward, uncomfortable, and be vulnerable. But God, my personal power was so weak and so small in those situations. I got annoyed with myself. Really, Nicole, you've lived this long and you faced all this, and that's your capacity? You get triggered so easily. You shut down so quickly. You need others to be wrong so quickly. You feel like a child in so many ways. That's what I'm thinking to myself. And this is why I will be forever grateful to the personal development world. It forces you to face yourself. The reason my family and I have been able to change isn't because I changed them. I changed. I changed who I am. I changed what I could control. I changed my perspective. I changed what I thought was possible. I changed and my world began to change around me. I will share this though. When I got divorced, everyone joined my husband's side. And he was smart about it. He had a strat. He beat me to the punch and told everyone his version of the story before I told anyone. It's very private about this. And he was I later found out very public about it to his whole world. So by the time I realized everyone knew already, they had already joined his side. And you better believe that pissed me the fuck off. You better believe it made me so angry that he would do that to me. And I was also angry and hurt that all of my friends and family believed him, and not a single one asked me, what is your side of the story, Nicole? Not a single person in my life. I thought I'd been abandoned by my parents. I had never felt so abandoned by my community that not a single person would ask, what about you, Nicole? I heard his side. What is your side? Some things do not add up based on what I know about you, but they all believed him. And so then I'm like, I'm not even going to argue it. As angry as I was and as violated as I felt, I surrendered to it. Why fight the tidal wave? I'm going to lose anyway. And I let it crash on me. I let it take me and I surrendered and I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried, knowing I was actively being misunderstood by everyone I knew and everyone I didn't know. And I said, okay, this is a test of who I really am. If I literally have zero power over the narrative that's being told about me, what do I have power over? And that's where I had to focus all my energy. All I had my power over was my peace, any sense of ownership of my side of the story, my sense of self agency to create a new reality while actively everyone misunderstood me. And some people flat out hated me, thought I was a horrible human. And I kept all of it to myself. There was no one to process it with except for my one coach at the time. It was the only person I could open up about this. Everyone, I had no one else to turn to, so I just kept it inside besides my coach. And then this past April, one of my best friends flew out and visited me. And I realized, like we started talking about, because now she's going through divorce and I'm just being there for her. And as I'm supporting her, she was like, what happened? And I was like, oh my God, did I not tell you? Did I never tell you my side of the story? And she's like, you've never told me. And I was shocked because I remember being so angry and wishing I had one person I could tell back then, and I had no one. And so I felt pride because I didn't even feel the urge. I had gotten to a point I was like, I can't wait till I have my turn. I can't wait for my redemption. I'm gonna make sure everyone knows my side of the story. And then here's one of my best friends that we got a little lost during my divorce. Like we were disconnected there for a couple years. And even still, I never brought it up to her. I had been able to become liberated from needing to be understood even by my own best friend. And I never told her. And I didn't even realize that because I'd made such peace with I'm I'm not even gonna try. People can't believe what they can believe. I can't fight the tidal wave. And for the first time, I told her what happened from my perspective, and her jaw was on the floor. And it was so sweet because I didn't need anything from her, but she's like, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you. And then I started crying. I'm getting emotional now. Because God, I would have loved to have had a friend, someone. And I said, it's okay. I get it now. Back then, I was very angry back then. I get it. Who do you believe? And when he has such a compelling story, it makes me sad that not more people reached out to me. But it's like divorce is messy for everyone. It's not just for the couple, it's for everyone, friends and family. You feel tribal, you feel more protective if you know. It's just like, it's okay. I get it now. I said I've got my own healing journey. She's like, I'm so, and it was like, I didn't need it, but it was like, it was so healing to hear that. Even though it's not what I was looking for. It's not, I didn't even know. This whole conversation was so unexpected. And what it's done is because she's going through a divorce, I am doing everything for her I wish someone had done for me. I am so there for her in her corner and holding her and guiding her and loving her and being the zero judgment person. Just like, I love you and I'm with you and you are not alone. That's the most important thing I can say. You're not alone and you're going to make it and you're going to be okay. Because I never got that. But I only got there because of this process. I surrendered to what is this. Okay, everyone thinks I'm a terrible person. I can't fight that. No matter the more I try to defend myself, the more they're gonna think I'm lying. You know what I mean? You notice that the more you defend yourself, the more people get like mad at you. Like, why? I'm not even gonna, it's not even worth anyone's energy. And I had to go deep and do the inner work. Okay, I'm surrendering. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna grieve. I'm gonna get support. And then when I feel a place where I'm not immediately triggered, I'm gonna imagine, okay, what do I want? Like what kind of friends do I want in the future? I want friends who don't believe the first rumor about me. I want friends who reach out to me and be like, what the fuck is happening? I'm hearing the craziest shit. I want to come straight to you. I want friends who will travel to me during my trauma and hold me in my room when everyone else is abandoning me. Like I got so clear on the kind of friendships I wanted to have. And it also got me so clear on the kind of friend I wanted to be. This was my imagination era. What do I want for myself, for my circle of community? And that's when I got very, very ruthless about the people I let into my inner world. I go, you can't just tolerate me. You can't just accept me. You have to celebrate me. In my core circle the only people allowed are people who celebrate me for who I am and what I do. That became a requirement, and that I only learned that because of the heartbreak I went through. For so long in my life, I tolerated toleration. I felt selfish for trying to demand anything more than being tolerated in my relationships. That feels kind of arrogant. That feels kind of icky to be like, you must celebrate me. But it's through this heartbreak and devastation I saw what happens when you're tolerated. When you're tolerated, you're easily discarded. When you're celebrated, people are not quick to let go of something or someone that they celebrate. I got so clear on my standards for the relationships in my life. I have to be celebrated. If you cannot celebrate me, you are going to be on an outside tier of my circle. You know, it's like concentric circles. My core, you will love me and celebrate me and think I'm the best shit. Just like I love you and celebrate you and think you're the best shit. That is absolutely what my requirement is for my inner circle. Then I feel here who maybe don't celebrate me, but they accept me. They're like, girl, you do you. I can never do it. I have some thoughts about it. You do it. And then on the outside, people are like, I kind of tolerate you. You know what I mean? I got so clear on the circles of friendships I want in my life because I went through this heartbreak, because I surrendered to it. If I had fought it, I would have never gotten to that stage of clarity because I've just been so busy being angry. So when a stranger leaves me hate comments that kind of sting me, I remember my concentric circles. Where does that hater exist? In none of them. So why am I going to get bothered and pissed by someone who's not even in my circles of friendship? Just let them think and say whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. Delete and block. It's not hard. Why would I give it more than 5 seconds of my time? Now, if it triggers something in me and I can't stop thinking about it, it has nothing to do with them. It has, okay, I have something unaddressed in here. I have to like feel into this. I need to figure out why something a stranger saying is bumping me, but it has nothing to do with that person. So I'm not going to react, engage, get mad, piss. Like I just let them go. And I get right back to the core work of, okay, surrendering to this feeling, diving deep and using my imagination, like, what's going on here? And then needing to bravely admit to myself maybe something I've not admitted or bravely do what I've not been willing to do. All of that, though, that wisdom, that tenacity, that grit, that unbotheredness came through the heartbreak. I could not have gotten here had my heart not been broken. I could not have gotten here had people not disappointed me. So, as much as I wanted to say, guys, just skip it and bypass to the end, whatever the frustration is in your life that's causing you to feel bothered and trapped, it's going to become your very liberator. It's going to be the thing that sets you free. I feel like a completely different woman now that I do not need my parents' approval at all. The very thing I sought my entire life until just a few years ago. All I wanted was to be seen by them. All I wanted was to be celebrated by them. I remember having my first $10,000 month and being sad I couldn't tell them because they would not be able to celebrate me. I remember I had my first $100,000 month and still not being able to tell them. And then I finally realized I will never be able to tell them my financial wins because that's just not something that they can hold. And there was a part of me that was sad. I want I think we have imagination. Our parents like celebrates all of our accolades, all of our achievements. And to know that something that's so meaningful to me, something that I was so poor and now I make this kind of money. And you just think they would applaud me and knowing that at least the old version, I haven't approached that in our new relationship, that the old version of them couldn't do that for me. That was hard for me to like give into. But I did. And I found my people from my most innermost circle where I could celebrate all those things and they wouldn't be triggered. They'd be happy for me, celebrate me, take me out and treat me because of it. But it's precisely because I went through all this heartbreak that I've become so unbothered and free. So this is good news and bad news. Bad news, you're going to go through heartbreak. Good news, it has the ability to set you free in a way you've never been free before. The thing that you've craved for most of your life, someday you'll no longer crave it. The thing that you think you need in order for you to finally be free, you'll realize you don't need it. This doesn't make you cold. This makes you so wise. Me knowing that my parents could never celebrate it until recently, again, I haven't approached this with them, but up until then, my parents could never celebrate any of my business wins. It sounds cool, like, well, it's a matter of fact, they can't celebrate me, but it's actually wisdom. It's like I'm not placing false expectations on people that just can't be that for me. Same thing for them. They know if they have a big celebratory religious experience, I cannot be that person for them. I cannot be like, yay, Jesus, for you. I'm not. I can't. And I know that I'm sure that makes them sad that they can't come to their daughter when they have a big religious experience. I just can't be that person for them in the way that they would need. I could be like, that's so awesome for you. But they want me to believe it. And they know I can't be the one to believe it with them. So that lets them down. So we both have to surrender to a degree to each other in order for us to imagine a new relationship and to be brave to forge a new way of being out of an old way of being. This is what I want for you. It's not to avoid heartbreak, even though I wish we could do that. It's not to handle heartbreak perfectly. It's to know how to handle it, how to navigate it, and to stop making it harder than it is. You make it harder when you resist. You make it harder when you're more dedicated to your predictions than your imagination. You make it harder when you swallow your truth and then taking brave action with your truth. When you're willing to do all three of those things, you will become unbothered and free. And you'll become one of the wisest people you know, and you'll start seeing it everywhere around you. Damn, look at how many ways and how many people constantly resist what is. They're manufacturing their own suffering and they don't even realize it. They think they're simply responding, but they're creating the feelings by resisting what is. And then you'll start seeing the patterns where people just predict and project. Well, I know exactly how Stephanie's going to react. I know exactly how Jack's going to react. I know exactly how Melissa's going to act and how they shut down any room for you to show up any differently because of how they're predicting who you're going to be. And you're going to see people who know what they need to do and don't do it because they're too afraid. You're going to start seeing this pattern everywhere, and you're going to see exactly why everyone is so bothered and grumpy, bothered and triggered, bothered and capped. And the more you start seeing that around you, the more you're going to feel this burning desire, like, I don't want that to be me. I want to be unbothered and free. Fuck, I'll surrender. Fuck resisting. Fuck more suffering. I'm surrendering. And now that I'm surrendering, I don't want to be a person of prediction that this is how it's always going to be. That is so boring. That is so under-evolved. I want to be a person of imagination who's willing to see things differently, who's looking for the miracle, who's looking for the breakthrough instead of looking for, ah, there we go, knew it. Be the one who looks for the miracle. Be the one who looks for the good. I'm not saying ignore the bullshit, ignore the bad. I'm not talking about any bypassing. This is all being very intentional about what we're looking at, being very truthful with it, about it all. And then I want you to be brave. A truly beautiful and meaningful life cannot be created without you being brave. I've had to have a number of hard conversations to get to this point in my life. No, they're not easy. Yes, they're emotional. And yes, they're worth it. Because now I get to be the liberator to other people's freedom. I'm going to wrap it up with a story and then I'm going to look at your guys' questions and comments. I had this acquaintance slash, I'd say girlfriend, but I think our dynamic is more of acquaintance. But I had this girlfriend who flew out and visited me when I was in California, and I hadn't seen her in a long time. And she was going through a really hard time in her marriage, and I knew her husband, I knew her, and I'm like, oh my God, my home is always a haven for my circle. And she came, and I'm so welcoming, loving. This is like the zero judgment space, like be whatever you want, do whatever the fuck you want. You're free agent. Like I don't have rules here for you. You know what I mean? So she comes, it's very haveny, and I'm just like loving on her and like whatever, just trying to be a blessing to her. And one time she slept in late one day, and I was like so happy. My assistant was over and we were talking outside her bedroom. Like, oh my God, I'm so happy she's sleeping in. Like she's so deserving. Like just a quick conversation, and it was all good. And later that day, she came out of her room so mad at me. How dare you talk about me behind my back? How dare you put me down like that? I heard you. And I was just like, I was so confused. And so she thought she heard us talking badly about her, which we never did. And I was trying to explain to her. And I think for the first time, maybe ever in her life, she was in a space where she wasn't judged, but she didn't know what that felt like. And so she thought she was being judged, which is something she's grown up with her whole life, that her nervous system freaked out. Even though that's not what we were doing, we were celebrating her sleeping in. She'd been out living her best life the night before. And she's like, oh, I thought I couldn't come back in because you think bad things about me. And I'm like, you're talking to like the slut, right? Like, please go party. Please go sleep with whoever you want. Like, I, I was like floored that she thought I'd like, you can't behave a certain way in my home. And I'm like, if anything, I will always encourage my friends to be sluttier. Like, if you want to be slutty, this is the time and place to do it. Like, I'm fully for your sluthood. And she, like, I could see her melt in real time because she just had her walls up. And she was like so cold towards me. And I was like, can I hug you? And she's like, no. I was like, okay, when you're ready, I'm here. Took her about a day to thaw. And when I saw her later, I was like, can I give you a hug now? And she's like, yes. And I pulled her and I held her. And something shifted inside of her after that weekend, where I felt like she finally got to taste what it truly was like to be free, where no one was bothered by what you were doing. Like there was a maturity in my home, like not, I know the circle she comes from. We had the same circle of friends. So I know exactly why she was so triggered. Partially why I moved away from that place. I'm like, I need new people in my life. But if I hadn't done the work to get where I am today, the way she acted would have triggered a very different version of me. But I could hold being misunderstood. I could hold a very strong reaction and not need to react. I could see that she was in pain and this was her pain speaking, not her truth speaking. and I could graciously contain it and like you do whatever you need to do. You process however you need to process. I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm here for you. The moment you want to talk, the moment you want to hug, I will drop everything and come to you. Yes, Jack. And when she left that weekend, we were on great terms. And I had this moment of like a full circle moment. I'm like, holy shit, that not only could I hold that, but we end up healing that in one weekend. So, yes, I became unbothered and free for me because I was so sick of being triggered and trapped. But I realized me becoming unbothered and free is the catalyst for other people to become unbothered and free. Just like when I had that hard conversation with my mom, I've never had a more harder, awkward, vulnerable, and truthful conversation with my mom in my life. And it set us both free. There was this sigh of like, we're done with the old way of communicating. We're done with old ways of being. This is a new era and a new beginning where I know my truth, you know your truth, and can we bravely imagine a new chapter together? You're doing this hard work for you, and you're doing this hard work for everyone around you. I love knowing when I walk into a tense moment, I don't love the tense moments, but I end up becoming a neutralizer. Where people get worked up, I as a third party, it's just this weird thing where like the two sides calm down and we can figure things out. But when I don't enter that room, it's just that it is just like they're at war with each other. But because this energy I bring to the room, to the conversation, to the meetings, to the whatever, it's like everyone takes it down a few notches. This is the power you hold within you. This is literally how you can shift. And this is why people change around you. Even the people that you think there's no way they can change, they change because that is how powerful you are. You walk in a room and the energy shifts and people shift and the way they show up shifts. So we have to stop telling ourselves a story of how we're victims and we have such little control. You have so much control. It's insane. It's just not in the way that we were taught. It's not in controlling people. We can't control people. We can't control their behavior. We can't control their thoughts. We can't control their reactions, but we can control them by the way we show up in the room and show up to the conversation. When people are like, Nicole, you always get what you want, no matter what it is. When I'm out and about, my girlfriends see how I attract craziness everywhere I go. They don't get it. And it's like, it's so obvious to me because it's like they don't even see, like, I'm not saying things to control them. It's the way I show up and the way I interact that have people tripping over themselves to give me what I want. They don't do that for anyone else until Nicole Mitchell walks in the room because of my energy. My energy changes everything. And the only reason my energy can do that is because I've become unbothered and free. So I know how to keep my cool. I know how to collect my thoughts. I know how to imagine a different ending to what I'm experiencing, and I know how to bravely create it. And me understanding the concentric circles of relationships, oh my God, a game changer. I used to try to make everyone be inner. Let's all be best friends. I'm an extrovert like that. I'm a lovey-dovey person like that. And then I realized, whoo, baby, that is not good for Nicole. And so when someone mistreats me or someone is not kind to me or someone's not a good fit for me, that's okay. I just pick them up and I plop them in the circle I want them to be in. I'm not mad at them for not being my best friend. That's resisting. Surrender, okay. They are meant to be on the outer ring of my circle. Got it. Doesn't have to be harder than that. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that, but we complicate it. We are the ones who make it messy, but we were too busy thinking they're the ones complicating it and making it messy. And this is why we get nowhere. We make other people the problem, ourselves the victim, and then we wonder why we're not further along. When we take radical responsibility for our healing and for our liberation, it is crazy the miracles that take place in relationships. This to me is some of the most important work you can do. I used to think it was time freedom back when I was controlled by the dollar and by the clock and working so fucking hard for every fucking dollar. And I'm like, I just want time freedom. And then I got time freedom. I have all the time in the world now. And I was, oh, that's only half the battle. The other half is my mind freedom. I can have all the time free in the world, but if my mind is running in circles about this person is a bad guy and this person's stupid and this person's all their fault and this person, why do they say that? Why they write that? You can have all the time free in the world and still be fucking trapped. It's when you have mental and emotional freedom coupled with time freedom, you are fucking free in every way. But for so many of you, you have time freedom, which is amazing. And what you yearn for is the mental and emotional freedom. That's the point of this masterclass. That's the point of this container. So whether you work a lot or work little, it doesn't matter because either way, you are mentally free. You are mentally free. I want this to become a way of life for you. I don't want this to be a 1 week blip of freedom and then you go right back to how many weeks are in the year? 52. I don't want you to have 50 more weeks of being bothered and triggered. I want this to become a way of being for you. And so I don't want this conversation to end. So you have two options. If you like this conversation and you like the energy and you like where this is going, you like who you're feeling, the version of you that comes through when we're having these conversations, then you need to join our bonus call. That's the first thing. All you have to do is share the graphic on your social media, tag me, put a quote, tag someone that spoke to you, say whatever is truthful to your heart. That's all I care about. If you haven't done that yet, you still have time. Do it by Sunday night. You have 2 more days to promote it. And then if so, you get to join our bonus call that's happening in December. And then if you are wanting this to go on and lock this in as a way of being, you need to be in the membership. My membership is where you become the version of you that you feel is right beneath the surface. The version of you who's so powerful, so convicted, so boundaried, and so free. Because when you know how to live a boundaried and thriving life, an unbothered and free life, money's easy. Business is great. Love comes. Because you've cleared up the runway, you are a wide open, energetic match for everything you want. Everything becomes simpler when you know how to create an unbothered and free life from the inside out. And that's exactly what we do in the membership. The membership is all about personal power, healing on your side of the street. It's all the energetics, and we couple it with practical how to scale your business, how to write copy that sales, how to make money on social media. I have trainings on all of those. So you're getting the practical strategy for your business and income, and you're getting the energetics for your identity. So you're powerful and unstoppable in every way. You couple those things together, you can't help but scale to new levels of freedom, new levels of fun, new levels of income. The membership is a year-long commitment. It's $333 per month for 12 months or $3,333 paid in full. If you pay in full, you get 2 months free. This is the best place to be in. That comes with accountability, that comes with these kind of conversations, and that builds the transformation you feel inside of you right now. In the membership, you get access to all my trainings and programs for free, and you get 2 group coaching calls. So you feel this kind of conversation, we have 2 of these a month. So if you're wanting to master this way of being, if you feel yourself expanding and elevating, you're like, I want to stay in this flow, the membership is for you. If you're interested in it, just send me a DM, send me an email. I'll get you all the details, and I would be honored to have you in there. So join us for the membership call, the bonus call, by just sharing this graphic and a quote from this masterclass or something that stuck with you, and then reach out to me if you want to be in the membership. I want this to become who you are. Who you are. Because then you're unstoppable in every way. And you can create any reality you want because now you no longer need anyone to be different or change different to get what you want. And you know exactly how to show up differently, to change situations to be different, to have people behave different. It's so fucking trippy. There's part of it certain like people can do whatever the fuck they want. I don't need anything to be anything. I don't need anyone to be anything different for me to get what I want. And the other part is I know how to show up to shift things if I need to get what I want. It is the best place to be. Surrendering and getting what you want, showing up differently and getting what you want. You are all powerful when you've mastered that. And this is what we teach inside the membership along all the strategy stuff for your business and money. Okay, let me look at the questions and comments here. Let's see. Oh, I'm working through my shame of starting an OnlyFans right now. Wyatt, like you are literally in the right place. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. And that's also my membership is great for that too, for having support in there. For me, it's having wanted to have the conversation, being turned down, taking a break. Instead of coming back, it might look more like opening the door for them to be curious, or maybe on a place where I can be misunderstood in a relationship with them. But it's probably the first bit. I'll open the door, and if they don't come through, it'll be okay. That quote, if you love something, let it go. And if it comes back, it's yours. That is the surrender to me. The moment when I open the door and am okay with either response, but feel genuinely open myself 100%. That's how I feel about my best friend in California. It's like the door's open. My brother's, the door's open. And right now, I've been given silence. So, and I'm okay. But the moment they come back, if they come back, it's gonna be a fucking party. But if they don't come back, I'm gonna be okay. That's huge, Stephanie. Thank you for sharing that. It's so powerful. It's the great exodus when people don't ask me for my side and blindly believe that has become an answer for me. I require relationships to be with people who are curious and give the benefit of the doubt. Same, same. No, this is a different friend than the one I sent the birthday cards to. Yeah, this is a different friend. All my friends went through the fire when I got divorced. It was crazy how like everyone just kind of stopped being in my life at the moment I needed them the most. Accepting family that will accept and not celebrate is a thing. I got the courage to take a break when I had friendships I thought were strong. Then they fell apart and darkened the soul. Now I'm rebuilding stronger friendships, and from that place, I'm able to have certain family back in my life at a healthy distance instead of cut off. Fucking huge. I love that so much. So much. What if they approve but do not celebrate? I just don't like being close with people who think they're okay or fine. But since the memoir publishing it may actually be in disapproval territory for my fam, I invited that space after being in the gray of baseline approval without a deep reverence. I think so. I, when it comes to memoirs, and this is just my own thoughts, I haven't lived this. Well, I say I haven't lived this yet. I haven't written my memoir, but the world has written my memoir, so my family's been affected. So I guess I've lived it in that way. Um, I think every person's entitled to their truth. I think we're allowed to share our side of our story, even if it makes other people uncomfortable or hurts feelings. I think part of the problem, I think part of the unhealthy patterns we pass down in family is like, okay, you can know your truth, but don't you dare tell anyone. And I honestly think sometimes family truth needs to be spoken for families to heal. And because I know keeping it undercover doesn't heal it. And so I trust that I believe everyone's entitled to tell their own story. And if it's in book form, if it's in like me, social media form, if it's in movie form, like I think you're entitled. And then obviously I do believe in like being gracious and communicating it as well as we can. I do think there's an art there and a fine line there, to do our best to be gracious. But then I always think of the quote, I can't remember who said this, and I love it because it's so cheeky and punchy, but it's like if they don't like how they're told in your story, they should have behaved better. So there's some truth to that too, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do my best to honor you, but I'm also entitled to tell my story. And I also have to make the flip side true. My brothers could come off the book and they could say I'm the worst sister that's ever existed. They're entitled to share the story and it would hurt and it would sting and I'd have all kinds of buts, but they're entitled to their side of the story and to their truth as well. And so I think part of what's going to heal our previous generations is we're being truth tellers. And it's only in truth telling that shame is often able to be addressed. And hopefully it heals most relationships or it ends relationships and maybe Both are needed. I get most triggered by strangers and internet trolls, and I know they're dumb, but I find those comments trigger my shame and fear. What do I do when I know I'm triggered by something dumb, but my body's shaking in fear? Then get mad at myself as I don't want to give in to those haters. I think part of it is just like surrender to your body, cry, punch a pillow, scream. Like let the emotion ride through your body. Don't resist it. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be mad that someone said something terrible online. Like I don't understand it. I do not understand why people write horrible shit. I'm like truly flabbergasted. Like what part in you think it's okay to ever write that much just on the internet for everyone to read? Like I'm just like it's okay to get angry that people write some pretty stupid shit online. But just because we get angry doesn't mean we have to respond. And I think that's your thing. It's like be angry, cry, punch, scream, whatever. But I wouldn't necessarily respond to them. I would talk to your coach or therapist about like your fear and shame that's coming up. That's what's going to heal it. It's not addressing the haters. I love you. Slut it up. Healing sexually is a blessing. Hit imagining putting people in exterior categories and buckets while keeping high standards for our inner circle hits. I did that before, and do we need to during as well? Um, no, before if you did beforehand, that's fine. Yeah, you pick where people belong in your circles. It's just the graphic of this program, unbothered and free, but I can send out again. It's in all the emails, so it's just it'll be attached to all the emails. Yeah, no longer reducing yourself. Yes. And that's the thing, Renee, when people get TV shows, when they get podcasts, when they get radio shows, when they do media interviews, they feel like they have to shrink themselves. And it's like we have got to learn that we are worthy of being seen in our fullness. I just had a really big social media platform reach out to me saying they want to highlight my story and they asked me to create a 2 minute reel for them to share. And they're a very like businessy social media platform. And I was like, wait a sec. I agreed. And then I realized later, I'm like, wait, what part of my story? Are they wanting the pastor turned stripper story? Are they wanting from divorce, married to divorce, straight to queer, monogamous to non-monogamous, food stamps, 7 figures? Like, there's so many layers. And I was like, because I'm assuming it's not pastor turned stripper because they're a very busy platform, but I'm like, I don't know. So I had to bravely ask my truth. And I said, hey, I'm really excited to do this. May I ask like what angle you're wanting me to approach? And I wrote them out, literally, pastor turned stripper, divorce, married to divorce, food stamps, 7 figures, blah, blah, blah. And they said, if you can focus just on business and money, that is what we are wanting. I'm like, okay, I'm so glad. And because I was afraid if I put pastor turned stripper, they'd be like, oh, wait, what? We thought you were just a life coach. But I'm like, this is who I am. This is who I am. And I'm done like shrinking myself to try to get like a chance. It's like, I'll create my own chance. And so I just don't reduce myself anymore. It's like, here it is. What angle do I approach? This one? Oh, you don't like any of it? Oh, you don't like what you found out about it? Okay, you go in my outer circle. Like, I'm not gonna cling and be angry. It is what it is. I now have an answer when I say your feelings are not my responsibility and people get angry, defensive. It's not my intention to hurt your feelings, and it's your job to have support and skills to handle your own feelings, just as my job to have skills and support to handle my feelings. So like when I didn't tell my parents we were getting divorced until we filed the paperwork, which was like 5 months after we decided to get divorced. And I told them in an email. And so I wrote an email. And my parents and all my siblings and all their spouses were included. And I just shared a little bit and just said, hey, this is one of the most difficult emails I will ever write in my life. This is one of the hardest decisions I've ever made in my life. And so I'm really sad to announce that, me and him are getting a divorce. I know this is going to come as a shock to you guys, and I'm just so sorry. And I'm just going to ask right now, we do not have the emotional capacity to handle your emotions. So if you're feeling negative about this, please, please, please get support. Please go to a friend, please go to your pastor, please go to a therapist, but please do not put it on us. We are barely making it as it is, and we don't have the room to like help you process your feelings. At this point, all we can handle is like support. If you're able to support us and love us, we welcome it. If you're triggered and angry, please take all the time you need to heal that and address that. And when you're ready to like come and support us, my door is open, right? And then, in my explicitly said, please don't email until you've healed your anger. My mom wrote me like a super long, nasty email that I did not read. My husband, becoming ex-husband, read it and he's like, "Do not read this, Nicole." And I still have not read it to say. I showed it to my partner like our first year, and he's like, "Holy shit." He's like, "Yeah, you probably shouldn't read it." So I never read it because I just knew anything sent back to me within 24 hours in that email, everyone was triggered. And I that's a boundary. It's like I don't need to know what my mom said. I can just know that it probably isn't going to be good for my soul. So why would I read it and torment myself? Like I surrendered. It is what it is. She's triggered. She's angry. I'm not reading it. That is how I say boundaried and thriving. I just don't read certain messages from people that are just going to be horrible for me to read. Even if it's my own mother, I'm not going to read it. Right. And so like that was hard. And she was, I remember my then husband was saying, "Oh my God, she's so mad that that you said that to get support for their own feelings." Cause and I knew she wanted me to fix your feelings, but I can't. But I was very gracious. I'm not like, too bad, sucker. It's just like, you need to get your own support. I can't be that person for you. How do you deal with people being triggered? How do you deal with being triggered by the people who have what you want? So I think of Prince and one of my favorite quotes. He said, "I'm never, I don't feel this. I think it's like, I'm never triggered. I'm always inspired." Nothing intimidates me. Everything inspires me. That's what he said. Nothing intimidates me. Everything inspires me. And so my translation of that is similar to that. It doesn't trigger me. I let it inspire me. So when I see what people have, what I want, if it activates like an envy, to me, that's a sign I'm meant to have that. So now I'm not angry about it. I surrender to the fact I get to have that someday. How cool. So my envy are my clues. My envy are glimpses into my destiny. So if that's what you mean, triggered as in like jealous, envious, if that's what you mean, it's like I just know that's going to be me, and it kind of maybe it bumps me that they have it sooner, younger, faster than me. And if I see them online and it triggers me every time I see them post, I do unfollow them or I mute them, one or the other. I like to know, like, okay, they have that. I feel the envy. I know I get to have that. And now I'm going to mute them. Because if every time I see them pop up, it triggers me, what is the point? That is my boundary, so I can stay free. Which platform, Ashley? About what? I was putting my naked photo on it, like Eve from Paradise. I love that. So good. Fuck yes, create your own chance. Fuck yes. Um, let's see. What link do you want, Renee? I'm not totally sure. Yes, I had an experience sending my book link with a potential collaborator, asked about my book, the biz self-help one. I knew it showed both, including the memoir, and when they went quiet and didn't answer my follow-ups, I decided to trust that my truth naturally repels what is not aligned, and it's a blessing. 100%. 100%. That there's always going to be someone who wants both of you. Like, here's the thing, and we talked about this I had a mastermind call this morning. So the reason so many people hire me as their coach is precisely because I'm both a life coach and an OnlyFans creator. How do I hold two very different platforms, two very different audiences, two very different messages, and two very different appearances? One's very slutty and one's more professional. Because we are often told you can only be one or the other, either be professional or be a slut. You can't be both. And I was like, that sounds dumb. I'm the both and queen. So I do both. And people are like, but wait, I want that. How can I both be sexy and be taken seriously? How can I both be a single mom and super rich? How can I both be divorced and fall in love with the most incredible human? Like it's the both and duality that I hold so well that it draws and attracts like my dream clients and dream buyers. That I would not attract them if I was only a life coach or if I was only a content creator. So I find that my duality is the biggest blessing and it magnetizes everyone who's meant for me and it repels everyone who's not. And there might be, I found for my journey, there was a big exodus, like you said. There was a big repelling season where just like I feel like no one could handle the fullness. And it was really, really difficult. I felt very lonely in some ways and almost like a little crazy. Like, seriously, am I this polarizing? Am I really this triggering? And then it felt like the wave ended and now I just get mostly people who can handle all of me. And I still get people who get triggered now and then or whatever, but it's like as a whole, the people are like, they can breathe around me. Like oh my God, wait, I can actually talk to you about these things. I'm like, yeah, there's no shame here. You can do whatever and be whatever. Like it's not radical, but it's radical for so many people. And that's why they hire me. It's like, you normalize this. Like, I want to write a memoir and a biz book. Like, how do you do both? And it's like that. I think most people are multifaceted. We've just been forced to be one or the other. And I think the new generation is bringing our multifacetedness to the table and refusing to hide any part of ourselves. And that's exactly what the world needs. Yes, jealous. Okay. Oh, yeah, I won't come off the platform yet about the interview. Um, yes, fuck either or. It's both and, both and, both and. It's what I take a stand for. And there's a lot of people who don't get it, and there's a lot of people who do. There's a lot of people who do. So good. So this, what we just did right here is what we're going to dive into in our business call. Oh my God, our bonus call. It's where we get to have this kind of like one-on-one and but in the bonus you guys can talk. So you'll be able to come, ask your questions, get support. We'll have make sure everyone has time who wants hot seat coaching. And it's like, how do we apply unbothered and free to your particular situation, to your particular relationship, to your particular context? That's really, really, really important to me. So I'm really excited about that call. I'll be sending out an email this weekend for everyone who's already been accepted, everyone who's shared. If you happen to share by Sunday night about this program on your social media and you tag me, you will still get to join. I'll make sure to send you the email as well. And then if you are wanting to be in the membership and be in this kind of conversation for a year long and know that who you'll be on the other side will be a completely different, evolved, transformed version of you, I would love to have you. Just shoot me a DM or an email. You can share either. You can share my Instagram, Mitchell Nicole. You can share my Facebook, wherever you are on, and you just tag me. Totally works. This was so good, you guys. I just want to say thank you again from the bottom of my heart for being willing to be in a container where we're talking about this stuff. This is like the unsexy stuff that leads to a very sexy life. This is the unsexy conversation that leads to very sexy results. And so I just want to give a huge shout out to you guys for saying, I'm wanting to have these kind of conversations. I'm wanting to go to these kind of depths. I'm wanting to, yes, have the hard conversations that lead to a really beautiful, meaningful, free life that you deserve. And so your job is to stay surrendered. Your job is to imagine a different ending or a different way of being. And your job is to take brave action on what it is that you know you need to do, internally and externally. And if you do this over and over and over again, you will be unbothered and free. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I am so, so, so grateful for this. You're so welcome, Barbara. I love you, Ginormity. I love that so much. You're all amazing. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful holiday season. And I'll see you guys on the bonus call, maybe the membership, and online. Bye, everyone.